What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Turkey Chad. Today we're doing a comparison of the Chuck Taylor 70 that I got modified. I painted it black. Comparing it with the Chuck Taylor All-Star, baby. Classic shoes. Two very classic shoes. Now, let's go over the differences. Firstly, the All-Star right here. This is the cheaper option, $60. Still pretty expensive for a canvas shoe. Whereas the Chuck Taylor 70 will cost you about $90 USD. Now, right off the bat, feeling these two shoes, you could tell the differences immediately. The canvas on the All-Star is very flimsy, very light, very breathable. Hugs your feet very well, hugs your ankle. Perfect for the gym use. Whereas the 70 is a thicker canvas, a lot more robust, a lot more substantial. You could really feel it. You can even see the thickness on this versus the flimsiness of the All-Star. Next, the laces on the All-Star are a lot more premium. Just kidding. The laces on the 70s are a lot more premium than the laces on the All-Star. The All-Star lace is very flimsy. Now, the benefit of a flimsy lace is that it ties a bit tighter, but it's also harder to get off, whereas the All-Star lace is nice, thick. Look at that. Easy to tie and untie. And the tips are about the same coated plastic material. Now, let's move on to the eyelets. As you can see, the eyelets on the All-Star are plastic material, whereas the eyelets on the 70 are a bit of a metallic metal material. Adds a bit to the quality. If you look at the little heel cap, the All-Star is a rubberized heel, easy to bend, whereas the 70, glossy material, harder to bend, a lot stiffer. As we move on to the sole, you can see the difference in the thickness of the sole. The 70 has a thicker sole, has a better cushioning system than the All-Star. However, the All-Star sits lower to the ground, so when you're wearing these to the gym, you have a better feel of the floor, whereas the 70, it's a bit more cushiony, so when you're doing something like leg day, you might be a bit wobbly. So watch out for that. Just because the Chuck Taylor 70 has a better cushioning system doesn't make it overall a better shoe for all scenarios. I prefer to work out in the All-Star just because it sits lower to the ground and has a more firm heel, midsole, insole. But if you're looking for all-day comfort wearing it around, out and about in the city, I definitely go with the 70. Definitely a lot more comfortable, a lot more sturdy in terms of just the feel of the shoe. This shoe just feels like it's built to last, whereas the All-Star feels like it might fall apart if I start to run in this thing. As you can see, so far, no breakage yet. And it's been about 2 years of owning this, and you can see there's a bit of a separation there. Whereas with the All-Star, I've owned this for, I think, 2 years as well, and not a lot of noticeable separation yet in that sole lining. Now, next thing I notice is that there's a difference in the stamps. All-Star 70, Chuck Taylor versus the original, different styling. Other than that, there's this heel counter here. In the Chuck Taylor 70, it's a lot more noticeable, where you could press into the shoe and not have too much pushback. Whereas the Chuck Taylor All-Star, it's a lot more stiff in the heel. But yeah, other than that, those are the main differences on the uppers of the shoe. Let's look at the bottoms of the shoe. Very similar traction pattern. The 70 has a lot thicker traction pattern. The indents are a bit thicker and more deep versus the All-Star, and it looks to be a bit wider of a base. It's just ever so slightly wider. Now, in terms of slipperiness, I do notice that the All-Stars are a bit more slippery than the 70s, as you can see based on this traction test. But it's very unnoticeable. Now, for that $30 to $25 to $30 price difference, definitely pick up these Converse ones. Overall, the material feels a lot more high quality. Even the patch itself is a difference in quality. The Chuck All-Star is just a plastic tab punched in there, whereas the All-Star one has a bit more of a matte finish, looks a lot cleaner. And also comes down to color choices. I know the All-Star has some colors that the 70 doesn't have. And it also comes down to, well, why are you buying this shoe? If you're working out, doing leg day, or doing any standing pressing movements, definitely get the original All-Star. A lot more stable on the ground, a lot more flexible on your foot. Whereas if you're just wearing the shoe to go to work, hang out with friends, and look stylish and comfortable all day, definitely pick up these Chuck Taylor 70s. The quality goes a long way. You could wear this to the gym and still do squats and standing pressing movements, but it might take like a month or two to really break in the sole to get it where it's not as bouncy. But yeah, that's about it. For me, I would pay the extra $25 to get the 70. But if you're on a budget, the All-Star will cover you pretty much all day. You can always pop in a $10 Dr. Scholl's insole and get that same comfort as the 70 for about $15 less. But yeah, that's all I have, guys. Ciao.